welcome. Hello, Ambassador. Thank you for being here. Thank you all for being here with us in this 5th Inclusivity Lounge. I think as a team, we are the most stressed we have been ever, probably because this is the 5th, but also because you've been expecting it. So that's an honor for us. As you know, the Inclusivity Lounge is a space where we explore the point where gender equity and inclusion intersect with wider themes of economic development, sustainability, and social cohesion. Over the last few years, we have explored themes of the recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, sustainability and the climate crisis, and also ethical technology and bias in AI. And this year, we will be exploring the issues of health and where healthcare and health provision intersects with issues of gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. I should say that this is the widest theme we have ever explored, and this became evident from the moment we started researching this lounge. So we will not be able to cover everything in 4 panels and 1 fireside chat, but we will keep exploring this issue. We intend to be at the Thessaloniki International Fair this September with, to be continued. So I hope we'll see you there as well, and I hope that you will enjoy those conversations, that you will get something out of those conversations. And with that, I would like to welcome the United States Ambassador in Greece, Mr. George Tunis. Ambassador, welcome. Thank you for being here with us.
Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Καλησπέρα. Είναι μια ιδιαίτερη τιμή και μεγάλη χαρά να είμαι μαζί σας. Και να σας πω, είμαι ακόμα χαρούμενος γιατί βλέπω a little bit of gender that, you know what, let me say it cleanly, that men came to this. I spoke at a panel in the fall where it was a room packed full of dedicated, intelligent activists who wanted to do the right thing, that were driven by merit and inclusiveness, that were driven by, frankly, the right thing to do. And then there was me. I was the only male. So I'm glad that there are some enlightened members of my gender that are here. So ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. I'm delighted to be with you today for what I consider to be the most important panel and the most important conversation that we need to have here today. And I don't say that with a sense of hyperbole. I truly mean it. Women comprise more than half the world's population. We will not solve the challenges and the problems of the 21st century unless we have their full involvement. And, you know, the theme that I want to say is that this is not about gender as much as it is about merit, okay? Let merit be the decision-making process. And I'm going to go into where I was fortunate enough to make or participate in those decisions where it's benefited me greatly. But supporting equity and inclusion for all people, including women, LGBTQI individuals, persons with disabilities, refugees, and other underrepresented groups, this is a moral absolute. This is our ethos. This is our collective philotimo. I don't know how we act in any way that could be contrary to this and still call ourselves enlightened. Now, this is a conversation that is long-standing and still makes even good people feel slightly uncomfortable. So having discussions like this and shining a light on it, that this is not just a selfless act, but the right thing to do for our economy, our society, our daughters, that it has a profound positive impact on the world that we live in. So let no one tell anyone that I'm doing you a favor, or, all right, we're giving you this one, or we're going to help you out. This helps all of us. And to arbitrarily put ceilings up, whether consciously or unconsciously, is to the detriment of all of us. And candidly, I see a shifting of attitudes where you talk to my children, and this is foreign to them. What do you mean? There's discrimination amongst people of color, or there's discrimination amongst people of LGBTQI community? My young children, like, what are you talking about? This doesn't exist. So, you know, in our collective imagination, we are starting to turn the page that, hey, we have to change, we have to continue to change, and we are changing. But in the mechanisms, in the constructs, in the structure that exists in our society, we may have begun to change hearts and minds. We may actually have begun to change laws. But what we haven't done is aggressively implemented this to make sure that when we talk about equality, that we actually have achieved equality, that we don't give lip service to something that is long overdue in our society, that we actually achieved it. That 60 years ago, Martin Luther King, Maria, I've completely thrown out the speech here, I'm just going. That 60 years ago, when Martin Luther King says, I have a dream, and that was an important dream 60 years ago. As we are coming on the 60th anniversary, that we too have not only a dream, but that we push it to reality. That not far from now, that when we meet, we are not dedicated activists seeking important work, that we have finished it. And we meet as a group of friends to say, mission accomplishment. We live in the world that we deserve to live in. We have handed over to our children a legacy that we can be proud of. That there is no discrimination in the world. Now, if you have looked at or read, I was a classics major at NYU. And when I go back to the ancients, and you want to read Immanuel Kant and the Metaphysics of Morals, and before then Hillel said it, and before then Aristotle said it, and before then Confucius said it, it talks about how we should treat people equally. Equally. You want to know if we believe in God? Read the Sermon on the Mount on what his or her expectations are of us and how we should treat our fellow person, not just our fellow man, our fellow person. Now, I'm convinced God is a woman. I tell the story all the time. You know, ta χρονιά, you know, ta χωράφια, the very valuable land were given to, you know, the boys in the family. And then the worthless waterfront seaside properties were given to the girls. Well, isn't karma something? So I have no idea where I should pick up on this speech, but I do want to make some important points because we have an opportunity to learn about the significant gender gap and the deleterious impacts that it's providing our society, that is costing all of us, not only in our families and a mental health capacity, but taxing our healthcare system and taxing our economy, which can be avoided and fixed. There's a significant gender gap in healthcare and health research. And I'm excited to hear some of the experts here that will explore the intersections of health and safety, health and sustainability, working at the forefront of health and technology. Now, we face unprecedented global challenges, including healthcare crisis. Fixing this will contribute to fixing many global challenges. This is very simple, and we're at an inflection point. The capacity that all of us bring to the table is important, And I likened it as, is anyone a soccer player here or football? You want to put all 11 players on the field, okay? Because every single one of these, from the goalies to the forward, to the defender, to the midfielder, to the attacking midfielder, have an important role. And your global team suffers if you don't have everyone on the field working together, making them feel part of a team, making them feel valued. It's important that we look at each other and that everyone is seen and heard and valued. Something that I learned from Sarah today. I think I was comfortable with the concept, but I really liked the way that she put it, because it's so elemental. It's so elemental. This is the cornerstone in all our relationships. It's a cornerstone in my marriage. It's a cornerstone in my marriage. So why are we not treating everyone else in the way that we wish to be treated? Why aren't we forcing change, intelligent change, that benefits not only those that have suffered from discrimination, but something that keeps all of us down? All of us. We all suffer a cost when we do not move forward to fix a problem that is incredibly fixable and that should be fixed. And we need to resent the fact that there are those that are deniers. And we need to say, basta, enough, enough. We will say no to hatred. We will say yes to love. We will say no to the ideas of the past that had no business in a civilized society. And we will work together to make sure that everyone is treated with equality and decency, because this is what's going to drive an enlightened society forward. Now, I can give you a lot of facts. I come from the C-suite. And I will not bore you with a tremendous amount of data and intrinsic scientific, a lot of intrinsic scientific data. When you have diverse C-suites and diverse boards, when you have a variety of opinions, when you have people that come from a variety of diverse places, bringing a variety of diverse perspectives and data sets, where you have diverse collaboration, you make better decisions. Does anyone think that a group of octogenarian male men living in Icali is the optimal decision-making body? I mean, really, really. This world is globalized, it's changing so fast, and we need to incorporate everyone into places of authority where we can make the smart decisions that are necessary for us to move forward. Now, those barriers are real. We may pretend that they're not, but they are real. And I, for one, have benefited from being the beneficiary of some very, very intelligent decisions. But I want to start by saying that the acknowledgement that this continues to be a challenge is a very healthy first step. But we need to pick up the velocity of the change that is required to ameliorate any potential deleterious impacts. Now, there are many instances in my life where I have benefited, but I'm going to give you two examples. When I left my company, Chartwell Hotels, the president of the company is a woman named Jennifer Losi that I have worked together for decades. Jennifer is not running Chartwell Hotels because of her gender. She is running Chartwell Hotels because of her competence. Meritocracy is a Greek word, and we need to make sure it's a global art. So this is, Chartwell Hotels is how I put food on the table. It is almost the entirety of my net worth. And I entrusted a person who is eminently capable, and I am benefiting from that. I'm told that the U.S. Embassy is making positive strides in Greece. this is because of 450 very talented and very, very, very dedicated people. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge two of them. One of the driving forces here today is Kristen Robbins, who heads our public diplomacy team. So Kristen has driven the conversation on inclusive education, and I'm glad she has. And I will tell you, after my wife and my children, the single most important person in my life and in the life of the U.S. Embassy is Maria Olson, who's a Deputy Chief of Mission, who I will tell you, without her wisdom, without the work that she does, we would never, never be able to achieve the type of success that we have. And I'm proud that they drive this conversation, that the two speeches that I have made here are the one I'm making today and the one on inclusive education. Because I don't want to sit here and tell you what our values are. I want us to show up and participate in things where you can deduce what our values are, what our shared values are. So let us have a couple of commitments here. Let us make sure that on all the panels, and whether it be Propeller Club or the American Chamber of Commerce or here or ones in our home country or TIFF or anything like that, that we move rapidly to gender parity on boards. Because we need to hear those voices. And we don't fully appreciate the value that they bring when we don't hear them. And I got to tell you, I'm here to criticize no one. In my country, we promise a more perfect union, and we really try to be better. I think everyone does. I look at intent. I don't think anyone intends to do anything but the right thing. But it needs to be more about an awareness that we cannot have tremendous global conferences without achieving gender parity. It just, not only does it not look good, not only do we not derive the full benefit of what we could in terms of learning and discussion and dialogue, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. So I want to thank Simeon and his team for hosting us. I want to thank my friend, the Secretary General for Gender Equality, Calypso Gula, for doing all that she does. I want to thank my friend Samara Mikara, the State Department Special Advisor for International Disability Rights, who made a special trip today. She brings a wealth of experiences on inclusive policies and the intersectionality of gender and accessibility. I look forward to the discussions that will follow and to continue the work that we do together, Oli Mazi, to achieve the more inclusive societies. And I listened to Sarah Minkara yesterday. And I got to tell you, I was impressed by what a fierce advocate this woman is. But I was shamed because all of the things that we complain about in life, you know, the food wasn't good, you know, there's traffic going to Kifisha, you know, this and that. And here is a woman who lost her sight at the age of 7 and who is able to see so much better than me in things that are so important. And I see an advocate that is not defined by this. This is a fierce advocate, a highly intelligent and educated person, and a person who's dedicating her life to making the world a better place. But someone, when you meet her, is obviously someone of tremendous decency and caring, like Kristen and Maria are. But it reminded me of something, that when you are inclusive and you are accepting, that this is a language that the blind can see and the deaf can hear. And those of us that should be able to see and hear everything owe it to the world in which we're raising our children to make sure that we not only see and hear, but that we do. Καλή επιτυχία. Ευχαριστώ. I have one of my best friends in Greece here. Sergey, stand up, please. The Ukrainian ambassador to the Hellenic Republic. The hardest working person in Greece, and if anyone and any group of people deserve our attention and our help, let's make sure that all of us continue to do the work that is necessary to make sure that borders do not be changed by force, and that Sergey and every Ukrainian is allowed and must be able to return to his homeland in a place that Ukraine is whole and Ukrainian.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you for supporting this work for so many years now. And thank you to the rest of our sponsors and supporters, Visa, the British Council, Growth Fund, Vodafone, and Microsoft. Thank you for being with us in this effort. I would now like to welcome the Secretary General for Demographic and Family Policy and Gender Equality, Mrs. Kalypsogoula, to offer her welcome remarks.
Hello, καλησπέρα και από μένα. Good afternoon. Of course, talking after Ambassador Tsounis, what more can I say? I'm very glad that I'm here, Ambassador Tsounis, and of course the Ambassador of Ukraine. And I want to point out all the good work we're doing for the women from Ukraine. Ambassador Tsounis, you don't know, or maybe the rest of you have to know that we're working together in order to have that the Ukrainian women have access to all the information needed in terms of gender-based violence. We have a person that in our SOS 15900 line, telephone line, help desk, can have the information in the Ukrainian language and also having the knowledge about all our the shelter houses and the counseling centers in case of being abused or having been victims of gender-based violence. So I welcome you all here. Of course, I agree with Ambassador Tsounis that it's one of the rare occasions that we have many men in the room, and I hope that this will continue. As a Secretary General, I want to point out that, of course, it is an excellent initiative and the thematic, and I want to help dear Stella Kastagler, Women on Top, for giving me the opportunity to talk about, in my welcome remarks, about the initiative to start having this conversation, especially at a time when public health issues claim an important place in the public debate and also here in the Delphi Economic Forum in the days to come. I'm sure that this event will conclude, of course, to a dialogue around such a vital and timely topic, exploring the various ways that we can work together, όλοι μαζί, as Ambassador Tsounis has very well put it out in his Greek words, to create a more inclusive and equitable healthcare system that everyone can benefit of. I strongly believe that promoting equity, diversity, and inclusion in healthcare is essential to ensuring that all individuals have equal access to quality care, that all voices are heard. I believe that we all agree that health is not just the absence of disease, but also the state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. Everyone, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, religion, or socioeconomic status, has a right to equitable access to health services. So this is why the three panels that we're going to listen to later have all the information that we have to learn from and then work. And of course, for me as being a representative of the Greek government as a Secretary General, I'm willing to have all to give all the help I can have in order to have the access and also to have the results being part of the real world. One of the key areas is the integration of gender and disabilities in healthcare. Women and individuals with disabilities have historically been marginalized in healthcare systems, and they continue to face significant barriers to accessing quality healthcare. The other important aspect is health and safety in public spaces. Women and members of marginalized communities often feel unsafe in public spaces, which can have significant impacts on their health and well-being. Gender-based violence is a pervasive issue. Despite significant progress in recent years, it remains a persistent problem in our society, and it's something that has augmented through the years of the pandemic, as we all know, and we had the opportunity to talk and exchange information in other panels. Addressing gender-based violence is essential to promoting health equity and explore strategies for preventing and responding to gender-based violence. Mental health and gender intersect in several ways. Women are more likely to experience mental health challenges such as depression and anxiety, and may face unique barriers to accessing mental health services, another topic that today we're going to listen to. Additionally, gender-based violence can have a profound impact on mental health, and trauma-informed care is essential for survivors of violence. Not victims, survivors is the best word to address to people that, men and women, or in general, gender people that have dealt with violence. It is critical to prioritize gender-sensitive approaches to mental health research services and policies. And I want to conclude, because everybody is waiting for the panels to start, talking about two actions that recently we have, as a Secretariat General in the Ministry of Labour and Social Affairs, worked for. It is under Action 134 on our National Action Plan for Gender Equality 2021-2025, preventing and combating violence against women and girls with disabilities. We did that with the support of the National Confederation of Persons with Disabilities, SAMEA, and we designed and drafted and created two very important tools for the first time in Greece. The one is called the Guide on Ethical and Professional Behavior for Employees in Social Care Structures for Women and Girls with Disabilities who are victims of gender-based violence, that provides guidance on how to address incidents of gender-based violence against women and girls with disabilities detected and reported in care and social care structures. And the other one is a manual on women and girls with disabilities addressed to all agencies involved in the reception of asylum seekers, and included under Action 431, protecting the rights of migrant, refugee, and asylum-seeking women and girls on our National Action Plan for Gender Equality, and aims to serve as a tool for professionals working at reception and identification centers, known as KIT, closed control structures on island or accommodation, and temporary reception structures on those in contact with people with disabilities. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish you a very big success and good luck. I would prefer to talk in Greek, but under respect of the Ambassador Tsunis and also the American Embassy, you had to put up with my English. And so it's time to start. Thank you very much.